So as you can see, I'm going to be doing my my video on Jessica. She is my client. Jessica lives in Washington with her son John and her sister Sue. John is autistic and Sue is her daycare provider, so she watches John while Jessica is out at work. Jessica is a nursing aide and she currently works in a nursing home. She worked there for She's been working there for 3 years and she makes $9 an hour. She drives pretty far for work and her car really isn't reliable and there isn't any other transportation that runs through her neighborhood. Um, Jessica also only has a high school diploma. Jessica was previously married to John's father, whose also name is John, but is spelled Jon. John, uh, her ex-husband, was emotionally abusive to Jessica, but he was physically abusive to John. John, the father, lives 2 blocks away from Jessica, so she wishes to move. Jessica was previously in an abusive relationship before John, but she successfully escaped that relationship. Jessica is scared that one day Sue will no longer be able to be her daycare provider and she can't afford another daycare provider. She also worries that John isn't getting enough attention or teachings that he needs at school for his speech therapy because she feels like he isn't improving. She also can't get promoted given the fact that she only has a high school diploma. So it's kind of hard with the salary that she has. She hopes her goal is to hopefully leave the neighborhood, but she can't because of her having to pay for bills and rent and things that she needs to provide for her family. And she also hopes that she can find a better job where she'll get paid enough to buy to rent another home or apartment and to pay for the things that John needs. And and it'll also help her pay for another daycare provider if Sue leaves. Here on this eco map you can see that I have big circle. Triangles are Jessica, she is 30 years old, and she has her sister Sue. Above is her son John, and below is her ex-husband, whose also name is John. And I put a staggered line because they don't have a good relationship. So that meaning I put the staggered line, that meaning that what they had isn't really good and their relationship that they have is unstable. And I have connected Jessica, Sue, and John together, given the fact that Sue is her sister and John is her son, so they are all related. And I put 3 little lines connecting Jessica to Sue because they have a strong relationship, because Sue is taking her time and being the daycare provider for Jessica's son, her nephew. And I have 5 little circles outside of that big bubble. The first one would be child support, and I have an arrow going down because that's something that could be outreaching for Jessica. Because given the fact that she is no longer married to John, she can file for child support and get money there, and that money can go towards the bills that she needs to pay. Anything that has to go towards John, that'll be money coming in along with the salary that she has with work. And I also put housing rent. There is the government can help her with paying her housing. They have these different forms of helping them pay for housing. They have like where you can rent an apartment and um, the government will pay half of what the rent is and you pay the rest with the deductible of whatever is left. And then you could also get maybe a townhouse, pick the townhouse of your choice, and if the landlord, helps, if the landlord allows it, um, the government can pay whatever, however much the landlord allows, and then she could pay the rest. And that'll help her a lot as well because she's not paying all of the rent, she'll have the government helping her as well. So I thought that was a good um outreach for Jessica, given the fact that she wants to move out of the neighborhood so that way she can get away from John because she fears, he'll do something or something will happen to John. And I also put Social Security for disability. She can file for disability through Social Security because her son is autistic, so she could get money as well from Social Security. So there's three different things that she can do, and she could do all three of them as well to get money, and it'll help her move out of the neighborhood, get away from her husband that is abusive. She can get a house that is closer to wherever she works, or just get a new job, and um, hopefully the house is closer to her job. It can help maybe buy I guess a cheapy car, but a cheap car that also works, or maybe even pay um pick an area where she could take the metro, and it'll help, she'll have money to pay for metro, and it'll be a good transportation to get to work or anywhere else. And she can also pay for a daycare provider if Sue ever decides to get a job, and will no longer be able to be the daycare provider. So it'll help her in many ways with money, because that's kind of the issue that she has here is money, because she doesn't have the highest education, so she needs money to help support her family. And um with these three information, she can get the money that she needs. And also I put at the bottom, I put the nursing home because that's where she spends most of her time. Well, where she spends all of her time whenever she isn't with John. She goes to work to provide for her family. So I thought that was an important bubble to include. And I also included the TANF because that was a part of her life. That was an important big part of her life where she wasn't getting enough money. So for 3 years, she was getting help from the government. So that's why I also included the housing rent, because she can still be getting help from the government like she once did before. So all these five things include together into Jessica, and this concludes her eco map. Thank you all for listening, and I hope you have a great weekend. Thank you.